Welcome to the Broken Tables Podcast, episode number 141. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our Broken Predictions champion, King Rome. How you doing tonight, sir?
Jeff, what the fuck, man? I want to do the whole gimmick thing where it's still not sponsored by Liquid Death, but I want to
Woo.
just want to hold on.
Talk about flip-flopping, huh? We're going back and forth between the gaming room and I don't know what was going on there, man. That was that was crazy.
Absolutely did a awful job opening the show. I can't lie to you. I'm always going to keep it real.
You know,
I don't even know what happened. I don't even want to know what happened. It just wasn't good.
Let's just say hitting a single wrong button had many more consequences than I thought could happen.
Well, what's up to everybody in the chat? Coach is here, Coog's here, Ed is here, Michael Duke is here. Good evening, Michael Duke. How you doing, man? Jeff, before we get started, big night tonight for the King's Court Invitational. We are going to be, I am going to be announcing the final two entrants of the tournament. And as we've been doing, I will be starting the show and ending the show with the entrants. And so first up, the seventh entrant into the tournament. My mic could use a bump up, please. Could you please take care of that, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me know. Jesus Christ, Jeff.
Yeah, that's on your end. You moved your mic.
I moved it closer to me.
True, but I don't know why that's different.
Okay. Am I good? Can I go?
Yeah, I bumped you quite a bit up. You're in the red now, so.
All right, good. Anyways, entrant number 7 in the King's Court Invitational. Now, again, I've gone out of my way to pack this tournament with some of the greatest competition that we've seen in the podcast, fan base, which obviously we appreciate you guys. And the seventh entrant is someone that, admittedly, he and I, we go back and forth a little bit. We have our disagreements. When we do agree, it's like the Allied powers coming together in World War II. You know what I mean? It's like holy crap, Rome and this guy are on the same page. No way. But at the end of the day, it's because we both just freaking love pro wrestling, and I think that's dope. At the end of the day, isn't that the idea, Jeffrey Vegas, of what America is supposed to be? It's beautiful. So that's why entrant number 7 in the tournament is Ed Weber. Ed, you are officially invited to the King's Court Invitational.
Let's go. All right. So welcome everybody here. Don't have too much in the world of news, I guess. We kind of got through a lot of the news last week. Just kidding. Looks like AEW is going to be passing 70,000 tickets soon. We haven't really got any sort of an update after the 60,000. We haven't got any official update, but lots of outlets are saying 65,000 is a done deal. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, in between 65 and 70,000 already. This is a massive win, man. I mean, you can't look at it any other way other than this is a massive win for Tony and AEW.
I've heard, before I get into what I've heard in terms of ticket sales, real quick in the chat, Michael Duke said he's doing good. He can't wait to turn 42. Are you turning 42 in a couple of hours? Happy birthday, man.
Let's go, Mike.
Birthday. Thank you for spending your last hours of 41 with us. It really means a lot to us. Look, Ed, you pump the brakes, bud. You gotta get through the tournament first. You can start talking smack once you get to the finals. Focus on your actual opponents first. Okay, that's all I would say. With that being said, please cut promos, talk shit, do everything you want to do to everyone in the tournament while the tournament's still going on. That's why I wanted to get them out of the way. In terms of the ticket sales, Andrew Zarian said that he had heard numbers in the 65 to 70 range, K, yep. Which I think that is a very likely. I think it's very likely to where we're at. We haven't really gotten a lot of updates in recent days. And I think that's because they're waiting to hit that threshold of 70. So if they're not at 70, I think they're close.
Yeah, I think so as well. And that's where I was getting my info as well. Andrew Zarian. He's a cool guy. Dude, I can't wait, man. I'm so excited for the UK crowd and, the European crowd. A lot of the surrounding countries as well are going to fill that stadium. That is going to be an absolutely wild show, man. It's going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an awesome crowd. It's going to be electric. Man, this has been such a insane year for the company, and it's going to continue to be an insane year. Um, just absolutely wild, just completely wild what we're seeing
Yeah,
this week from them
it's gonna be
as a
freaking
brand,
awesome.
which we'll get into tonight because there's news about that into the show tonight. I mean, obviously, and the other headline, which not to steal your thunder, I don't know if you were going to talk about it, but obviously the rumors that came up via Ryan Fredericks on the Observer boards. He dropped a rumor that AEW signed a television deal with Warner Brothers Discovery for 5 years, 1 billion with a B
The
dollars.
B. Yeah,
Um,
man, that would be insane if that were true.
I mean, it's just like look, if you hate AEW and you want to see them fall, like, well, guess what? They're not going anywhere. And if you like AEW, then this is obviously a complete win for you because more money means you can pay more wrestlers. There's obviously going to be more TV time to pay all these wrestlers that we constantly talk about not finding TV time, which again, tonight was a very common thread. You saw a lot of common thing going on here where, some people showed up tonight, which we'll talk about. Ryan Davis is here. What's up to Ryan? Michael Duke says he turns 42 on Sunday. Ah, okay.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, $1 billion, like to hear, the word that starts with a B associated with AEW. That's just amazing for me as a fan, for us as a podcast. This is what we do. We're AEW centric. It's really really awesome to hear as a big time AEW fan. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's just we've talked about it a lot the past few weeks. I mean, especially from like my perspective personally, where it's like I feel attached to the company on a personal level just because of how got in on the ground floor and it revitalized a love of mine. I mean, without AEW right now,
Yep.
my passions and hobbies would consist of video games and the Philadelphia Eagles, and I mean obviously other little things I care about, but in terms of like love, the big three are video games, Eagles, and wrestling. Um, but it's like, man, it's great. Again, I'm almost left speechless to see the
Yeah.
company do as well as it has, and I'm very excited for their future.
Yeah, and Ed says it great in chat here. He said the best part of that rumor is if it's true about this price of $1 billion, it kills that narrative of AEW is gonna fold soon.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was saying. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
if you're sitting here, wishing for the death of the company, or like when Brawl Out happened, for example, right? Like even as AEW fans, we're looking at it as, will the company survive this? Can the company survive this? How are they going to react in the trajectory of the landscape? And I was talking about like hobbies, like in terms of like you know what I mean. Ed's just trying to stir the pot
yeah.
right now. No, Mrs. Rome comes first. Uh, I love her very much. No, she lets me love the other three things, and that's beautiful. Um, but anyways, yeah, it's just the company, they've weathered every single storm that has been thrown their way, every single adversity, every single drama, whether it was overblown or not. Everything they've handled it, and they've come out of it looking better than ever. And at the end of the day, it's like we gotta acknowledge that and appreciate the company for that. And yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think this was,
Nah, yeah.
not that I was worried beforehand, but this was definitely like the like, okay, like this is $1 billion from a network for 5 years. Like they're not going anywhere.
That'd be insane. It's got to include everything, streaming rights and the library and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
well, we'll
wild.
talk about when we get to what Tony Khan says, because he says something very interesting that I want to elaborate further on, or at least speculate further on. But we'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, I'm not going to answer that question because we're going to get to that here in a minute. But I do want to go ahead and say that, the rumors that Collision are going to be like a hard brand split, I do not believe that those are true. I think we've had a lot of reports that that's not true as well. It's not going to be a hard brand split, Ryan. It looks like Collision's going to have people from both shows. They're just going to make sure that when they schedule somebody for the one show that the others aren't scheduled there. But I don't even think that's going to be legit. I think that's all part of storyline. The whole Chris Jericho with Adam Cole, they're literally putting it in your face that you're being worked. You know what I mean? So take that for what you will, but I don't believe there's going to be a hard brand split, Ryan. I don't think we need to worry about that.
I don't think so either. I think that there's going to be storylines that make it seem that way though.
Yeah.
So like, and you saw it tonight, which again we're gonna get into when we do our Dynamite review coming up in a few minutes, which was a generational, great episode of Dynamite tonight. Free pay per view. That's what tonight was.
Yeah, for real.
Um, Now Ed makes a good point here. Ed says that I made a good point. Brawl Out was just 9 months ago. It was the biggest black eye the company had had. Excuse me, mostly thanks to CM Punk. But what a turnaround from there. Yeah, I know. CM Punk made the company better. I agree, Ed.
Yeah,
Completely
and
agree with
even
your stance.
that's funny that you say that CM Punk made the company better then, and even though that was a huge black eye, he's not even actually returned yet, and he's already making the company better again. You know what I mean? Like, people that are buying Wembley tickets are saying, I'm expecting to see Punk. Like, I'm expecting to see him there. That's why I'm buying a ticket. I've seen a lot of people actually say that. So, yeah, he for sure. And he actually did. You're actually correct. The E in AEW is the elite, and he did punch the elite in the eyes. So,
But my counterpoint, Ed, is, and see, I'm from a place called the City of Brotherly Love, where sometimes you need a good punch in the eye to wake up and utilize your full potential. And I think at the end of the day, CM Punk, he helped boost the trajectory along. Because guess what? Everyone came out of it. What happened after the brawl out? The locker room was energized, and they came out there and they busted their. So, and then the Elite come back, and obviously they have that chip on their shoulder. And now Punk's going to come back, and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And then we're going to get great money matches like CMFTR versus the Elite, down the
dude,
line.
can
So,
you can you
yeah.
can you imagine the tension we're gonna get of like a month where the two shows like don't like Punk doesn't reference the elite don't reference Punk, and we get these little hints here and there, and the tension that's gonna build from that, and then all of a sudden, I don't care if it's Punk walking into Dynamite one day or the elite walking into Collision one day, like it's gotta be insane, dude. I'm gonna lose my mind. The
Yeah.
Rome Ed feud is great. Yeah, I agree, Coog. It is fantastic.
I mean, I could have a feud with a broom, and people would be like, 5-star feud.
All right. Any other news stories you want to go over before we hit up the AEW Dynamite review? All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our AEW Dynamite review from Detroit, Michigan. This was, this was an excellent Dynamite, but the crowd was a little bit lackluster to start out the show. Um, you know, I think it was. I want to blame it on the venue, but when we try to do that to every venue in the country, sometimes it gets a little. But it did seem like once this crowd actually woke up, the crowd definitely, they got into it in the later half of the show here. But we started off with a double Jeopardy match. This was the first time I think I've ever seen a double Jeopardy match where we had two champions of different sorts. We had Claudio, the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, and we had Rey Fenix, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion, and they faced each other to get a shot at each other's belt. I thought this was a genius, like, I've never seen this before. I thought this was a genius stipulation in a match. If anybody's ever seen this before, please tell me in chat, but I thought this was really really cool to have. No matter who wins, someone's getting an actual title match out of this. I really enjoyed that.
I believe I have seen the stipulation before. I don't really recall where, but I feel like it's happened before. In terms of the crowd, I didn't think it was necessarily a bad crowd. I mean, I think they rose to the occasion when needed most.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
so I mean, yeah, I didn't really have a lot of issues with the crowd. I mean, they opened the show, they were chanting AEW, they seemed pretty excited. I feel like this was one of those kinds of crowds that once like the matches started and the action kind of settled down, then they kind of calmed down a little bit. Which I mean, yeah, obviously you want a crowd that's hot the entire way through because those are like the legendary crowds. But
Yeah.
I don't think that this was necessarily like that. It wasn't that bad of a crowd. I don't think it was as bad as people are making it out to be. But sure, it wasn't like a top 5 crowd or anything like that.
Well, there was a spot where Rey Fenix walked the barricade, and I got it right here. This spot was absolutely insane, man. Like, remember how I was saying a while back that they put these new barricades in and they were extremely sturdy to the point where guys could actually stand on them instead of the old, the street barricade with the cloth on it and everybody was slipping and falling off of them all the time. That's why I love these new barricades. That spot was so cool. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a really great spot. I enjoyed that Excalibur and Shivani had said that they had never seen, or I think it was just Shivani had said that he had never seen anyone do something like that on the barricade. Yep. Taz was like, I have, and I believe he was referring to Sabu.
Yeah, Sabu. Yep.
Yeah, because Sabu used to do that. But yeah, no, I mean, this was an excellent match. It was a great change of pace for them to really, because obviously the Four Pillars had been opening the show the past month and a half or whatever. It was a nice change of pace to just start with some action. Like, they were already in the ring, ready to go. This was just an absolutely great match. A lot of action. It was really fun. Two really talented guys in Claudio and Ray, and they just went out and they had an excellent match.
Yeah, man, I freaking love this match. I thought the crowd would get a little bit more into it, but it seemed like they were just watching the performance in awe. You know what I mean? A lot of them were just sitting there like, "Oh my god," and they were just kind of clapping. It felt like a Japanese crowd, if that makes any sense. Like, you ever watch the NJPW shows? It kind of felt like one of those crowds.
It was a very Japanese crowd where they will get extremely hyped, but they're not going to always be at 11. They're going to turn up when they want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you ever hear the story about? It's totally not wrestling related, but you ever hear the story about the first viewing of the original Star Wars in Japan?
No, not in Japan.
Okay, so Alan Ladd Jr., who worked at Fox, he was the guy that like took a chance on George Lucas and with Star Wars. Like, nobody else believed in Star Wars. Even this guy didn't really, but he just believed in George more than Star Wars. So he apparently the movie came out like first in Japan or something like that, and so he was there to see it in Japan, and the crowd was silent at the end of it, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is a flop! Like, this is gonna fail! Like, I shouldn't have trusted this guy. Star Wars is dead. It's never gonna take off." And so, but it turns out that in Japanese culture, silence after a film is the greatest compliment you can give a film. And obviously, Star Wars was a massive success, including in Japan, and was loved by all.
Okay, that's a cool story there. I like that. And of course, Claudio picks up the win here. It was a really cool Ricola bomb he got here for the finish. So it looks like Claudio and a member of the Blackpool Combat Club of his choice will get a title shot at the Lucha Brothers Ring of Honor Championships. So I really love that stipulation. I thought it was really cool, and that was a freaking great match.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we had a backstage segment where we got to see some shoes and some legs walking down the I don't know what to call it there, the hallway, I guess. And I don't know how or why I knew this was Miro's legs, but I immediately shouted Miro at my TV. And here we got to see Miro looking absolutely jacked. Renee Paquette walks up and says, "Hey, Miro, what are you, how's it going?" And he just walks into Tony Khan's office and shuts the door. I absolutely freaking loved this here, man. Love to see Miro back.
So I like to think in the kayfabe, Miro is sitting at home, and he sees the rumors that Tony Khan just got signed for a cool $1 billion with a B. And he's like, "All right,
Ooh,
time to go to work. Hey, boss man, how are you?" No, I mean, in all honesty, it's awesome to see Miro coming back. I mean, obviously, he wasn't being used because of creative issues. He didn't want a job. He didn't want to lose. It's pro wrestling. You're going to have to lose eventually. So he kind of got put on the back burner. But I think that you're going to see. I mean, so we can talk. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to wait until the Tony Khan segment to talk about Collision?
Yeah, we'll wait till the Tony Khan segment.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to Miro. Can't wait to see what they do with him. I hope he's just willing to play ball and be a essential part of the show, because he's a big time star, and you know that they'll put him in a decent place here now. We got a great roster. So Next up, we had the first of what I assumed was going to be 4 promos throughout the night. We got the MJF version first. These were some video packages, basically telling a story of each one of the pillars. The first one here was MJF. And, once again, MJF references CM Punk by name. And I believe he's the only one that has actually done that, has said his name. I thought this was the first time, but Natasha in the Discord pointed out he has said it a couple times over the last month. What'd you think of this, and what'd you think of him referencing Punk again?
I mean, the amount that he referenced CM Punk was obviously like he's obviously coming back. Like we all know this at this point. Like it's a done deal. In terms of the video itself, I mean, I thought that these videos throughout the night were just completely phenomenal, just excellent. I thought the MJF one was no better. I mean, MJF talks about how he's beaten the best, and he just begs the pillars to do the same, which they haven't. He's right. MJF's like, I've beaten Moxley, I've beaten Punk, I've beaten Danielson. I think he lists a few others. He's beaten Cody, which great, love that. But so yeah, I mean, I thought this was excellent, and he compares the pillars to the Beatles, which was a really cool touch. A big thing with these video pre-tapes is how much they put the pillars over, which again, like that's been the whole point of this storyline. It's like if you're not into any of the pillars specifically, they are trying to establish them with the entire fan base. Like for the stragglers or people who might not, care about them as much. Like, no, these are the pillars. These are the guys. Like 10 years from now, like all 4 of these guys are going to have had successful world title runs.
Well, here's how I'm looking at it. So, you know how everybody has different tastes in their favorite wrestlers, right? Like, your favorite wrestler is going to be different from my favorite wrestler, but they both happen to be Bryan Danielson at the moment. You know what I mean? But I think that with the 4 pillars, they kind of made it where there's something for everyone. So like if Darby's not your cup of tea, maybe Jungle Boy is. If he's not, maybe Sammy is. If Sammy's not, maybe MJF is. I really like how there's got to be one of them that you like. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I'm getting at. You're gonna at least like one of these guys.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that if you look at the 4 pillars, I mean, obviously you in terms of the heel side, you have the cocky heel and Sammy, where he's just a douche, and then you have MJF is obviously a douche, but he's not a douche. He's the devil. He's freaking evil. Like Sammy, and we'll see in Sammy's video package later on. Like Sammy's not 100% a dick. He's not a bad guy. He's just a dick. And with MJF, he's obviously that evil heel, the conniving, backstabbing, always finds a way to get out type heel. And then, like you said, Darby's more of he's a babyface. He's the high flying daredevil, reckless abandoned babyface. Whereas Jack is more of the squeaky clean, gonna do the right thing because I'm a good guy. It's what I do. I'm gonna be a badass at the same time kind of babyface. It's great.
Yeah.
It really covers.
It says unless you only like big guys. You're probably not watching AEW if you only like big guys, Ed. That'd be my only answer to that one.
Pro wrestling is moving along and evolving. So I mean, like obviously, it's the big man in pro wrestling will always be there, but you should probably, if you only like big guys, you should probably be embracing a more wider palette of pro wrestling.
We do have Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow, so not a big, not completely devoid of the big guys, but
exactly. Well, and then that's the thing about AEW that's so it's so great is that they have so many different styles. I mean, you have wrestlers who are more suited to a no holds barred type style. You have wrestlers who are high flying luchadors, the Japanese wrestlers that come in, just on and on. The technical guys, the sports entertainer wrestlers, like these guys are all there and they all fit in. And if you just confine yourself to one kind of wrestling, like that's kind of lame. That's like scalping tickets lame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's lame. It's really lame.
I doubt there's too many people left that are just big guy fans, but before we go to our next topic here, let's go back to the chat. We got Dacimo saying he loves how Excalibur said that can't be right before they cut to the back for Miro. That was pretty good. I like that. The return of Miro was that was big, man. And I don't know how I knew those were his shoes, dude. Like, but for whatever reason, I was just like, Miro. But let's go ahead and get to our next segment here. We had a nice video package Kenny Omega and Moxley promo here. Mox cut a really, really dark promo telling Kenny, you're going to be leaving with a broken heart and a broken face. Almost like he was a fortune teller, but we'll be getting to that later. And remember how I told you? Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. What?
Okay, you looked like you were frozen there for a second. So remember how I told you? I said in Discord that I said to my wife, I predicted the finish there. I looked over at my wife and I was like, now what could break Kenny's heart? And she was like, the Young Bucks getting beat up too. And I was like, yeah, that could be one of them. Or maybe Don Callis turning on Kenny, and she was like, oh, wow. And, we'll get to this later on. Next up, man, the FTR segment. I thought this was really freaking. I loved this. I'm a big fan of Team TNA. You know me with my FTR. I'm a huge FTR fan. Very glad Dax stopped the podcast. By the way, I have to agree with you on some of that. Didn't make me the biggest Dax fan for a little while there, but it's it is what it is. I loved this segment, man. I absolutely loved how FTR comes out and they call out Mark Briscoe to kind of apologize to him for. Not too sure what they were going to apologize for, but they call Mark Briscoe out, but Team TNA shows up instead. I really enjoy this whole FTR fighting over Mark Briscoe with Team TNA. That's what I'm going to call these guys because I hate saying all four of their names back to back and they don't really have a team name yet. So I'm going to refer to them as Team TNA. What do you think about this back and forth where they're fighting over Mark Briscoe? I really, really enjoy this.
Yeah, I enjoy the storyline. I think it's a pretty good storyline. It's kind of funny because I think that mostly almost everything about this just screams like an old wrestling storyline from the 80s. Both in terms of the styles of the wrestlers to the story itself. Excuse me. I think it's great. I mean, I think it's been pretty good. It was good for what it was. I mean, the Mark Briscoe storyline's good, and I've been enjoying that. And it's a good twist to have Mark as the referee for Double or Nothing, although I do see that as a kind of a predictable outcome. But that's okay. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
I didn't see it coming, to be honest with you. I don't know if I was just blindly following along, but yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Not the announcement, but I feel like the result of the match, unless we're getting like a huge swerve, I can't see Mark Briscoe letting the FTR lose their titles here.
Could you imagine a Mark Briscoe heel turn?
No, I can't. That's why I said I can't.
Oh my god!
But they're not going to do. I can't see that happening. I really can't. Especially because like Jay Lethal and gang are clearly using Mark. Like they're not even like subtle about it. Like they are clearly using Mark to get their title shot here.
I mean, we're playing the clip here now. We'll get to it in a second, but so Mark comes out and he kind of passes everybody a drink to try to get everybody to make up here. He's trying to mend the fences per se, but Sanjay Dutt spits his drink into FTR's face, and Dax is kind of blinded here in this scuffle that they got going on. And Dax winds up putting Mark Briscoe into the pile driver. This is gonna be interesting, man. I'm so loving this story. That's all I can tell you right now. I absolutely love where this story is heading.
Yeah, again, it's been a really enjoyable story on the mid card. I feel like they're just kind of buying some time for FTR until Punk comes back. I mean, I think that's kind of the goal here. That's just personally what I'm looking at. I think obviously Jeff Jarrett has totally earned his place in AEW, which is shocking. I mean, I don't think anybody had that on their 2023/2022 bingo card. Jeff Jarrett coming in and really deserving to be a mainstay on TV in 2023, but here we are.
Yeah, if you would have told me when Jeff Jarrett first arrived that he would be doing as well as he is doing, you know how much I like Jeff Jarrett. I still wouldn't have believed you. I'd have been like, yeah, right, okay. I cannot believe how good he has been for AEW. His storylines are all fantastic. Even people that I know that don't like Jeff Jarrett are like, dude, I got to admit, he's actually pretty good in here. You know what I mean? Like, It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Decimo in the chat's talking about Omega and Don coming to the ring. Got sad, knowing it would be one of the last times, considering how often they were teasing a breakup. Didn't know it would be tonight. Was it too early to break up Omega and Callis? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I'll definitely give my opinion on that, but in a short answer, I will say no.
No, too early. No, not really.
No, they've been together his entire career almost, at least his AEW career.
No, I mean, well, Don's entire AEW career.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Don didn't show up till like year 2 of AEW, or maybe even later.
Yeah, I was meaning Don's career. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Next up, we had a quick recap of the Chris Jericho Adam Cole saga. Again, like I keep saying, they're using this tremendously to kind of to steer you for the whole CM Punk thing. Jericho is saying that he's made sure with legal counsel that Adam Cole will not be on the same show as him. They're not allowed to be in the same building. I mean, come on, it's exactly the rumors that you've been hearing with CM Punk and the Elite. This is, I love that they're doing this to us. I love that they're telling us it's a work. It's freaking great. I love it.
It's great. Stream unavailable. Jeff, you suspended the stream.
Stream unavailable.
Yeah, because you ran that whole fucking segment. I was wondering why you